Unlike most cars, the Beetle's engine is in the rear end, and to work on it, you can place a chair here and lean forward and work on it, where other cars you're leaning over a fender and working on it all day.
Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you for being part of it. Today, we're doing a different type of a video. The car is under construction, I'll show you in a minute, of is it really simpler to work on a VW compared to other vintage cars or even newer cars? And we'll point out some things here and then leave in the comments what you think also, because your opinion matters too. And real quick, check this out.
But something I wanted to bring to your attention is if you haven't had the chance yet, make sure you subscribe to VW Trends magazine. I'm really a big supporter of them, and they do support me also. Pop down into the description below and go ahead and subscribe to VW Trends. They do a lot of stuff for us DIYers and things of that nature. So give it a shot.
And there you have it. Okay, let's get started.
Before we get started on today's video, this is what went on the last few days. Thanks to Evan and Slade, this is what they got done in a few hours.
So the front end is together and mocked up so I can do the body work and paint. The front apron is welded and fitted in place.
On most cars, you have to deal with the hinges to get the door off. But on Beetles, all you have are screws, like you see here.
Okay, the door wanted to come off. You got to figure these been in there forever. There. Loosen this one up a little. Because one of them threads made such a difference. Oh. Come on. Get out of there. There we go.
And that makes it so much easier. On modern cars, did you ever have to remove your shifter? On Beetles, you only have two 13mm bolts to remove the shifter. It's easy as that, because oftentimes we like to change out shifters or replace our bushings, and that makes it so much easier.
The next thing would be your braking system. They absolutely are very simplified. When it comes to the drum brakes, I did a video on those. You're going to set your brake shoe in there. Set that in there. I hope I'm not in your way. Like I said, you can use pliers so you can see better, and I'll bring you in close in a second. So you want everything to be lined up, and they are very easy to do. They're very easy to adjust. If you switch to a disc brake system like I had shown in a video before, this on. There we go. That's the way it goes on. Okay. Just like that. It's a little tricky to do. My hands are probably in your way. And we're going to remount this. The disc brake systems are very easy, the ones that you put on here, the aftermarket ones. So that's another very simple thing to do, which I think makes life a little bit easier. Yes, I know before some wise guy gets in the comments that other cars have disc brakes. I'm talking about the simplicity of the Volkswagen Beetle.
Unlike most cars where you have to lay on your back to get the gas tank out, what do we have here? You gotta love the simplicity of unbolting the tank and lifting it right out.
Let's loosen these up. Be gentle, don't break the wire. It's here. They're all 13mm. Take our bolts out. This way. And
And there you have it. That makes life much simpler when you're dealing with a gas tank that you can just take right out. Did you ever have a problem with sunroof leaks? These are not like some of the cars with rubber seals. These are different. As you can see here, a short video on how to fix the leaks on these.
Here is the hole. Now that will be your front holes. All you're going to do, you're going to pour some water in here. Keep doing it. And I didn't anyhow, but you get the point. So another very simple thing with Beetles, and this one really is simple. Most cars you have to unbolt the seats to get them out. Sometimes they can be rusty, very hard, the bolts break. Beetle simplified this. And remember, this was the people's car. It was meant to work on. As you see my seat track here, okay, it's not connected because it's not welded to the floor because I removed it and I do custom seats. However, with a regular Beetle seat, you're basically unhooking a spring, lifting your adjustment handle that moves the seat forward and backward. You're just sliding the seat right off of its tracks. That's what you call simplicity.
Now let's talk about fender removal. We know what a pain in the butt it can be on most cars. If you look underneath of here, look how easy it is to get to the bolts. With a few wires off the lights and a few bolts, the fender's in your hand. And we all know what a pain in the rear end it can be to remove a windshield and put in a new one. Here is a short clip and you will see how easy it is to install compared to most cars.
And you just kind of tuck it inside of the seal. Centered in the window.
Now, on most cars, we all know when you got to get under the dashboard, it's not very exciting. We're trying to get underneath, our back's bent under, we're trying to look up underneath. These are different. Now, this is different than the 73 and up Super Beetle, but you've seen what I did with one of those. And I really didn't think it was horrible. These here, everything is in the trunk or the front frunk. You can get to everything here that you need to. And if you need to get to the fuse box, it's right here. You don't have to lay on your back. And then if you go in the trunk, you have all your wiring there. Now mine's out of order right now. But as you see what I mean, you're not laying on your back underneath. And I think that is another thing of simplicity. Everything is right here.
Most cars' engines are up front under the hood, but not in the Beetle. Unlike most cars, the Beetle's engine is in the rear end. And to work on it, you can place a chair here and lean forward and work on it. Where other cars, you're leaning over a fender and working on it all day.
And as Heather just stated, it's so much easier to sit on a chair here and work on the engine. But last not least with the engine, it's very simple to work on them. Even oil changes are easy, or if you want to do a tune-up, some may complain about the spark plugs, but your wires, working with your distributor, setting the timing, everything is right there at the back of the car. You're not bending over the fender trying to get to the distributor at the back of the engine. I'm not putting other cars down, by no means. We're talking about the simplicity of the Beetle. Is it simpler?
And one thing I forgot about until I was editing this video is engine removal. Not too many cars make it this simplified to remove the motor.
That should be an 8mm nut. There's really not an easy way of getting a ratchet on. But PB blasting and wire brushing them up sure helped. That goes to the other side of your carburetor. So, generator's disconnect between the engine and transaxle, back in the firewall there with a nut, 17mm.
And unlike most cars, you are simply removing this motor with 4 nuts, some wires, a fuel line, and a floor jack.
And last but not least, here's Misty's tip of the week.
Hey guys, it's Misty coming back from the VW store. Today we're gonna have our quick tip about CV joints, CV boots, and swing axle boots. We're going to start with IRS. So on an IRS, this is your typical CV boot. IRS is always a two-piece flange, and your CV boot pretty much always looks like this. Either of these have that same design. So your bug CV joint, typically there's no humps. It's totally smooth on the flange here. The bus has usually these humps as far as size. Your Beetle is 90 millimeter. Your bus is 100 millimeter. As you can see, there's... Now, how do you understand if you have a swing axle or IRS? Just by looking at the car. IRS, now we're going to pretend that Misty has an axle here. IRS has one of these boots on each side of the axle. Swing axle, say this is the transmission side, is going to have one boot going this way. There is not going to be a boot at brake drum side. Swing axle boots come in a couple different variations and looks. These are your 99/16. You can see these boots are like super soft. They're really good materials. Your 99/16 has a double groove. I still always suggest putting some type of a sealer in there that kind of zippers closed, and then it comes with the hardware to then put through these holes. There's also ones that do not have the bolts. You have to have the transmission apart in order to change these and put the slip-on style. However, there is also this style boot. If you're running a really lowered car, if you're running in an off-road vehicle, or anything where your axle travel is going to be significant, this is the style boot I always suggest. You also want to remember to grab the torque washers and the bolts. If you have any questions, just reach out. Always here to help. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe.
So there you have it. This was just a quick video to show how easy it is to work on these cars compared to most. I'm not saying all, but most. But the idea behind the video was Heather's thought. She said, your videos are helpful because Heather watches a lot of them and she's in a lot of them. But she said, did you ever do a video on, are they really the simplest car to work on? And I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
Gotta love her. She stepped in and said, I got an idea for you while I'm assembling some of the body. Now I'm going to do more of the body assembly for the back very soon. So I'm going to time lapse that like I did on one video of the sound deadener, and you guys seem to like it. It had a good watch time. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I hope that everybody has had an amazing weekend. Tomorrow's Monday. I know everyone's dreading it, but the week will go fast. And we'll see you Friday night on live chat at 9 p.m. Eastern.